Hello and welcome back everyone to the video series dedicated show on CBS that loves to eat turkey legs angrily. That's right, we're talking about The Challenge USA Episode 5. We are 5 episodes in and we have so much to go over in this episode, but we're going to start off where last episode left off. Shannon and Xavier making an early exit to the season, and then TJ going over to the perfect algorithm, opens it up, and we get the new teams of Danny and Angela, Derek and Kayla, David and Alyssa, Tyson and Cashay, Enzo and Kira, Kyland and Shannon, Dom and Desi, Cinco and Azza, Ben and Justine, Leo and Sarah. Of course, Sarah does not like being paired up with Leo. We also get a conversation between Kayla and Derek, who is team not last. They feel they're comfortable as long as they don't get last place, because then they have a shot of not going into an elimination. We see Ben braiding Sarah's hair. We know Ben and Sarah, if you watched Winners at War, they were super close with each other. Pretty much Ben sacrificed his game in Winners at War for Sarah. So they are close as ever in this season, and that worries Tyson because he was also at Winners at War and both Ben and Sarah voted him out. So we see a conversation between Tyson and Sarah, and Tyson asking Sarah if Ben is cool with him, and Sarah says, 100%, we're all cool, we're all survivor strong. So Tyson's like, okay, but I'm still gonna keep my peripherals on you and Ben. We also get a conversation between Cashay and Cinco, and Cashay lets Cinco know how she's feeling. Apparently they're not talking, they're not on good terms. Finally, she decided to speak up about how she's feeling, and the way Cinco is flirting around the house makes her feel, and Cinco's a little confused. It's just very complicated. Overall, that whole scene is the equivalent to it's complicated when talking about feelings and what their relationship is to one another at this point. I have to say that this whole beginning part is somewhat what I find as a con in this season, is that the house dynamics feels very chunked up in the edit. I know as the production team, having only an hour, 45 minutes without commercials to propel storylines and to tell a succinct story in one episode is difficult. So you're just trying to get so much out there at the beginning before heading into a 12-minute daily challenge and then another 8 to 10 minute elimination later on, that the dynamics of the house and how people are playing the game is important and you want to see that. And it's difficult in the beginning portions of all the episodes to try to, I guess, get so many storylines in, so many people, some screen time, that you're just trying to pick out what's important. And to me, it just seemed so all over the place, with going from Kayla and Derek, Ben and Sarah, Tyson and Sarah talking about Ben, and then back to Cashay and Cinco, trying to jam pack that into 8 minutes, probably more like 6 minutes after the intro and everything. So pack that into 6 minutes, then everybody dons their challenge gear heading out to the daily challenge. I think that's something that is missing on this season, is more of the house dynamics, more of the relationships of everyone within the house. I love the competitions. I love seeing people compete. I also like the strategy that is involved within the game, and would have liked to have seen that a bit more. Maybe if the runtime was a little bit longer, we would be able to get more of that. But alas, we do not, as we do see people don their challenge gear and head out to meet up with TJ for this week's daily challenge, which is at a barge called Barreled Treasure. I have to say, comparatively, this name for this daily challenge is on another level compared to last week's episode, at least, as we saw falling off the ledge. No ledge. Barreled Treasure. I'll take that as a win. In this daily challenge, teams are going to have to jump into the water, swim together to a barrel that will have a code on it. Then you're going to have to swim even farther to a barge where it has a whole bunch of barrels on it. You have to find your barrel with your code, open it up. There will be puzzle pieces. If you open up a wrong barrel, you're going to have to swim out to a buoy for a penalty and then swim back to the cargo ship. And then you have to swim back with your puzzle pieces and then do it at least one more time. So you're going to have to make 2 trips. That is a big deal. When they were talking about the instructions to this challenge, I was like, wow, this is tough. This is going to be difficult for the players. I think that this would have been difficult for even the players that are on the MTV challenge who have done this multiple years and multiple seasons. Like, this one would have been difficult. We see early on that Derek and Kayla get to an early lead. They are excellent swimmers. They don't even stop really at the barrels because they were doing like the breaststroke to see and spy the code. They both memorize it quite easily. They get to the barge. They get their puzzle pieces first. They are by and far having the biggest lead throughout this whole daily challenge. I was rather impressed. We see Tyson and Cashay. We know that Cashay is not a strong swimmer. Tyson is pulling her throughout the whole time. When they first get onto the barge, they are hit with an instant penalty, and both Cashay and Tyson have to get back into the water, swim back to the buoy, and then get back. When listening to Tyson's podcast, because I thought because of everything that happens in this episode, I wanted to get his insight on what he was thinking about moves he made and the daily challenge. And he said that in the daily challenge, you're not supposed to open up the barrel or that would be a penalty. And you're not even supposed to touch a barrel. If you touch a barrel, I guess that you have intent to open. He said that he was barely even out of the water by the time that the production handler said, hey, you guys have to go back and swim back to the buoy because you touched a barrel. Apparently, Cashay got onto the barge, slipped because it was wet, touched the barrel, and then when she got up and was starting to move around the boat, that's when the production assistant or production said, you guys have to go back, you touched a barrel, and that's a penalty. Hence why throughout the rest of the challenge, you see Cashay holding up her hands to signify that I am not touching a barrel, which makes a lot more sense than what I initially thought because we barely got to see anything on the TV screen, and I was like, what did she do? Did she just like get up and then just quickly open up a barrel? On the first go around, we have Kayla and Derek in first place. Second is Justine and Ben. Third is Danny and Angela. All I would have thought would be in the top three. Last place is Azza and Cinco. Everybody jumps in the water for the second go around. Of course, Derek and Kayla are still in first place. I thought they're walking this thing. They're waltzing to first place. They're gonna waltz into power. Like, this is it. This is Kayla and Derek's time to shine. They even get to their puzzle station first. They're putting the puzzle pieces in. It's a tanagram. They get a little bit of a head start before Ben and Justine show up to their puzzle station. Then we see Alyssa and David getting ahead of Danny and Angela. I was pretty surprised by that, but they get to their puzzle station and Cashay and Tyson are just putting it into overdrive. They are passing teams on the second run on their swim back to their puzzle station. Cashay is kicking, holding on to these puzzle pieces. They're passing Enzo. They're passing Danny. They get to their puzzle station in fourth place. And with a chance to win this, let me tell you how my jaw dropped to the floor when Tyson and Cashay were announced the winners. Wow. Like, absolutely impressive. Derek and Kayla get second place. Ben and Justine get third place. Danny and Angela get fourth place. And we get to the point where we have three teams left. We have Sarah and Leo, Kira and Enzo, Cinco and Azza. I was like, yeah, this is a wrap. We know who's going to get last place. But it actually gets closer than I thought. We have Kira and Enzo getting 8th place, locking it in. It's down between Sarah and Leo, Cinco and Azza, but Cinco and Azza are just too far behind to make up this time as Sarah and Leo lock in second to last, meaning we have our winners of Cashay and Tyson, who both get $5,000 each, and they went into power, they went into safety, and we know who's going directly into the elimination, which is Cinco and Azza. We move back to the challenge house where we hear a little bit of conversation and strategy about to go into the deliberation between Cinco and Azza, where Cinco's like, let's just not say a name because my ex Cashay, if I say a name, it could get really muddy for us, whether they don't say the names we want to go up against or they use it against us, that we do say names and then they use it against us saying like, well, they said your name. So that just puts us more into hot water. Cashay and Tyson are probing for names, trying to get something out of them. And Cinco and Azza are tight-lipped. They do not say anything. So they leave the deliberation, and it is free game. On the podcast, he talked about how there's really only one team that was on his mind and kind of like the green light to go, which is Derek and Kayla. We don't really see their names pop up, so I was confused when in the edit we kept on seeing Kayla and Derek over and over again talking about who could possibly go in. We do see them after the deliberation talking about, okay, well, who do you think is going to go in? They think that they have a shot because they're Amazing Race and Big Brother combined versus a Love Island and Survivor player who is in power. So they could be very well going into the elimination. I mean, Dom and Desi is shown being like, well, we could go into the elimination. To me, that made no sense. Why even put that in there? I mean, is Dom just thinking like, everybody's out to get me? I'm the possible problem. You guys are two Survivor players. Why would Tyson even want to throw you into an elimination? Makes no sense to me why that was shown, or why Dom would think that he is like the big enough threat that Tyson would even want to throw him in. Like, Dom is on Tyson's radar. Yeah, no. We move on to a conversation between Kayla and Tyson, and Kayla brings up that there's somebody in the house that is not so happy that Tyson keeps winning, and she's confused on why this person, aka Ben, is skeptical or worried that Tyson is winning so much. If they're supposed to be Survivor strong and this such a strong Survivor alliance, why wouldn't Ben just be happy that Tyson keeps winning? Now, just to mention this, on the podcast, Tyson has mentioned not just Kayla is coming up to Tyson saying that. Apparently, there were a ton of other people like Danny and some other people that Tyson trusts that Ben is saying, hey, I'm not too happy with Tyson. We got to look out for Tyson, and he keeps on bringing up Tyson's name. So with Ben on Tyson's radar and Tyson on Ben's radar, that's going to cause some tension in the game. We also have a conversation between Cashay and Tyson where Cashay comes up and is like, look, Sarah is talking mad smack about Leo. She hates Leo. She hates Leo as a partner. He was the worst partner, she's saying. He doesn't take anything seriously. And we in the edit, like, we only have 45 minutes, but Sarah is going around to everybody and anybody who will listen to her complain about Leo, and she will just unload all of her frustrations about Leo on everybody. So that freaks everybody out in the house, including Cashay, where she's like, I don't want to be partnered up with Leo at any point because that is a death sentence. With Cashay bringing up Leo and Sarah, and then also Sarah and Ben talking about Tyson behind his back, that gives the green light to Tyson being wanting to throw in, instead of Kayla and Derek, Sarah and Leo. So we move to this week's elimination where everybody is standing in the arena. TJ calls out Cinco and Azah to join him on the arena floor, and Tyson and Cashay easily call out Leo and Sarah. And of course, Leo and Sarah are pissed about this, but they're gonna have to channel that rage and energy into this week's elimination called A Dark Turn. As everybody was walking into the arena, you can see that there is this giant crate in the middle of the arena floor. There's a whole bunch of film reels of all different sizes, and there's a pole. In Dark Turn, teams are gonna be paired up with each other, tied up with each other. They're gonna have to run to the dark room where they're gonna have to feel a tower of these varied size film reels. They're going to have to replicate that tower outside using their own film reels that are scattered all over the arena floor. The first team to replicate their tower that's inside the barrel, outside of the barrel on their pole, will win. This isn't a physical elimination, which is more of an equalizer, because if it was like a hall brawl or a pole wrestle, I think Sarah would be able to take Azah, but Cinco would be able to take Leo. But now that this is a puzzle, and it's also about communication and working with each other because you're tied up with each other. And Leo and Sarah, I think, are able to work smarter, not harder in their strategy, as we're going to see, but also that they're the same size. They're kind of like moving with each other. And just like I mentioned, that they have a strategy going into this. Cinco and Azah, once the horn is blown, they just run directly into the dark room to feel up the tower. Whereas Sarah and Leo grab all the different sized film reels examine them, they start measuring them with their hands, with their fingers, trying to get an idea. They also come up with a numbering system where 1 is the smallest size reel, where 4 is the largest size, and they're going 4, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 3, 4, 4, 2, 3. It's actually a really, really good system. And we see on the opposite end, Cinco and Aza are just out of sync. Go. Get it? See what I did there? No. But they are out of sync, as we see at one point Cinco is trying to like move to grab a reel. He forgets that they're tied together and he kind of drags Aza along. There's a point where they have to dismantle their whole tower because they accidentally put a large reel instead of a medium reel. So they're kind of like all over the place. On the podcast, Tyson said that they were moving slower than Sarah and Leo. Sarah and Leo was moving with purpose and with a strategy in mind. Leo and Sarah started this off really strong, this elimination really strong, and they just continued through the whole thing. Even you have Sarah like staring down Tyson as Leo is putting on the last couple of reels, and that's when they get a check, and TJ blows that horn. Sarah and Leo win this elimination, get Cinco and Aza's money, and sadly, Cinco and Aza are eliminated from the game. I do want to say that Cinco said that this was like his dream of being on the challenge. Well, can I just say, please, MTV production, get him a ticket and let him come on to the main season. I want to see him on more challenge seasons, whether that's more on the Challenge USA or MTV The Challenge. I just think that he could transition well into MTV's The Challenge as well as the Challenge USA. So I want to see Cinco on more seasons, and we have Sarah and Leo who are staying, who are giving like the cutthroat symbol. They're going for it. Like they're celebrating their own way. Like they're at a Metallica concert, like the Slayer concert, like they're just raging. They're having like a mosh pit in the arena down there. But they rejoin the group, and that's when we end off like we do every single episode with TJ unveiling the algorithm, and we kind of know what's going to happen. We're going to have like Tyson and Sarah paired up next week, and possibly Leo and Cashay paired up with each other next week because of everything that happened in this episode. I don't know exactly who's going to be paired up after this episode, but I just have a feeling that that's going to be the way it's going to go, because we had Cashay talking about Leo being a death sentence, and then she's upset about Cinco leaving the game. Then we have Tyson and Sarah. Of course, they're going to have this tension, and then they're going to have to work together in the next episode, and that's going to just lead to a lot of tension as Sarah can only see red and want pure revenge on Tyson, and Ben also wants revenge, but it's gonna be a lot. It's gonna be a lot heading into next episode and the rest of the season. How is this all gonna play out? I thought that this was actually a really decent episode of the Challenge USA. I rather enjoyed it. As I mentioned, the house stuff is still a little clunky, but the daily challenge was definitely intense and was interesting to watch. We also had a pretty fun elimination, and we have players not scared to take shots. Yes, this could dismantle some of the Survivor numbers. Yes, this can get messy for Tyson and some of the other Survivor players who may need to pick a side on who they want to be partnered up with, whether it's going to be playing with Tyson or playing with Sarah and Ben. But as an audience member, this is awesome. This is exactly what we wanted to see. We wanted to see players taking shots. That's how we got Xavier and Shan thrown into the elimination. Blindsided. Now we have another blindside this episode with Leo and Sarah, and it's just going to get muddy and messy from here on out. So long is Survivor strong, and you know what? I'm here for it. I'm excited about what's going to happen next episode. I just really thought that this was a stellar episode for the Challenge USA. But that is it for this week's video. What did you think about this episode? Let me know down in the comment section below. What did you think about the daily challenge? What did you think about the pairings? And what did you think about Tyson's move sending in Sarah and Leo? Do you think that was the right move? Do you think he should have sent in Derek and Kayla as the safe route? Or would you have liked to seen him throw in like a different team altogether? And what do you think about Sarah and Leo winning this elimination? Are you thrilled or are you upset? Are you upset that Cinco and Aza are leaving the game? Or are you kind of like, yeah, okay, Let me know anything and everything down in the comment section below. Thank you so much for watching. I also want to give a special shout out thank you to everyone who supports me over at patreon.com/angelcakevids. Thank you for your support. Thank you for your generosity. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And thank you to everyone who's watching this video up to this point. I'll be back really, really soon with more Challenge USA content, more challenge content, more content in general. But until then, peace.